Tonight we're going to be talking about Resolution 79 and Resolution 80. New business, Resolution 81. I wrote 79 and 80, and there has been a lot of discussion between the council members about 79 and 80. When I wrote this approximately a month ago, I wrote it as standalones. 80 is never mentioned in 79, and 79 is not mentioned in 80. 80 gives me the power to bring an action, whether it be mandamus or others, in relationship to our aquifer. And in fact, in spite of 80, I have already initiated an administrative action with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Oil and Gas Division, through their commission, related to the Stevens well. 80 gives me the power, and it allows me to use my discretion. 79 establishes a committee that is to deal with and look at all the issues related to injection wells. And I met with Mr. Rutherford, and I am going to seek and ask for Mr. Rutherford to amend 79 to expand the scope of the original 79 beyond the Stevens well to any other proposed wells that may be out there potentially ready for or looking for permitting. And you may not know, but the permitting process for these wells is twofold. One involves construction or drilling. The other involves injection. With the construction, there's a limited administrative activity. Time with the injection, there is a significant administrative activity. One counselor today, not today, but in the time frame since this was introduced, has spoken to the chief of the Oil and Gas Division, and he has indicated to us that the injection well portion or permit, when filed for, will be under the new law, but the actual permitting was a rewrite or a reissue for the drilling portion of the construction. So we have two issues there, ultimately. And so part of my reasoning for the administrative action is to keep the city of Marietta's options open in respect to its aquifer and its protection. The original two, as written, as I said before, are standalone. Because one passes, does not mean that it really has anything to do with me and the other. It's more of an information gathering design. 80 is the one that speaks specifically to one well right now, and that is the step in the well, or Stevens well, number one, whether it be class 1 or class 2. The 79 deals with proposed wells, and whether it be class 1 or class 2. And if you attended the meeting at the high school, you know that that's a different class, and that's another well that is being proposed and asking or waiting for the permitting process. So I just wanted for the people to understand, and my counselors here to realize that number one, 79 and 80 stand alone, but the amendment is to expand 79 beyond just one or towards the future as any others that might be there. If there's a need in the future to direct me to do some other lawsuit to other proposals that they come through, then council has the ability to act and tell me so that I can use my discretion. So I just wanted to get that out there to everybody here this evening and all my fellow counselors who have spent a great deal of time looking at this, understanding it, and trying to move forward for the best interest of the city of Marietta. 81 tonight, wrapping it up, is an ordinance or resolution that is asking the state of Ohio, the House of Representatives, through its speaker and through its minority leader, as well as the Senate through its Senate president and minority leader, to enact legislation for a 3-year moratorium on injection wells, not just in Washington County, but in the state of Ohio, because of the nation. is because the city of Marietta really does not have the ability to impose a moratorium, but the state of Ohio does. The state of Ohio is the one that gave the jurisdiction to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Oil and Gas Division, and the Commission. And they have then the power also to impose the moratorium so that they can be brought together and brought up to speed as to what is going on in the state of Ohio with all the wells, not just in Washington County, not just in Athens County, but all the counties and all the wells that are currently out there. And our hope is that there will be some action where we keep all the foreign brine out of Ohio.
Yeah.
I'm not against the oil and gas industry at all. In fact, I grew up in the oil and gas industry. I was on a rig when I was 7 years old. But let's be clear, nothing that human beings do is safe and a fail-safe. We try to do the best we can, but we also need to have a little oversight, and that's the thing I believe that all of us as council believe that's lacking at this point in time with the ODNR. And that's why we're asking for the moratorium as well. The moratorium, I think, is the ordinance, or resolution is 27 pages long. I had a little help with Susan because I wanted her to read it and make some changes if I felt was necessary in some of her research since she did the objection early on back in August. So, again, I want to thank you tonight for being here in this important issue that's before the city of Marietta. Thank you again. President.
We have a guest official, Ms. Kristen Robinson. She is the former watershed coordinator for Friends of the Lower Muskingum River, and she'll speak for about 5 minutes. Is she here? Ms. Robinson?
Hi, Ms. Robinson.
Thank you for joining us.
I believe there's a microphone in the front. Or perhaps would you like to just stand behind near us and speak? Okay. Just speak loudly into the microphone.
Okay. Hi. So, for the Friends of Lower Muskingum River here in Marietta. I worked from 2005 to 2010, working on groundwater protection plans for the communities of Debola, Beverly, Campbell, and creating those source water protection plans and being familiar with the groundwater along the Muskingum River, the porosity of the sand and gravel aquifer and the propensity for it to become contaminated. I have a groundwater model outside if any of you guys have a moment to come out afterwards or something. I have the groundwater model running right now showing potential sources of contamination. Hold on a minute, I have a little bit of notes. I think mostly what I want to say is please reach out to your state rep, reach out to ODNR chief, Vindell, and write them letters, send them emails, call them, let them know that you are concerned about the water, the potential for water contamination in your area, contamination that is already happening in your area. Make your voices heard, be loud about it. They have already clearly said they don't really care to have hearings about this, or they don't really care what people think about it or what people have to say. So please let them know what you think about it. It's the only way that it will help. That's really all I have to say right now. Thanks.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you.
Can't hear, could Could you turn the volume up a little bit on the speaker? In the room to hear.
Is it all the way up?
Perhaps you have an IT person that can help with that. I'm going to proceed. So during the fourth order of business, hear from the counselors, but first I'm going to speak. We have there are several petitions and communications. Oftentimes the law. It's on Max. Is that Max? Okay. Oftentimes the council clerk will read those in. I have one in particular from a Corey Hadesy. He reached out to the city council this past Monday. He is a former executive director of the Oil and Gas Commission. He served as executive director from 2019 through 2023. And that is the same commission that is dealing with the currently pending administrative appeal from ODNR. And he writes, "Dear Mayor Schlicker, Law Director Bertram, and members of the City Council, this is a communication regarding your strategic posture against ODNR and Deep Rock. I'm not an external agitator. I'm an Ohioan married to a Buckeye, raising 2 young Buckeyes. My involvement is driven by an ethical duty and a specialized understanding of governance. Equipped with knowledge and influence, I view institutional malfeasance as a betrayal of our constitutional compact. I loathe bullies, and my participation is simply a matter of duty to confront them. The official denial of your hearing request confirms the opposition is not seeking resolution. They're executing a deliberate strategy of institutional evasion. 1, the legal and factual indictment. We have reached the point where the legal facts are unassailable. Your compiled evidence and legal objections, specifically citing from ODNR's own records, are an indictment of the agency's conduct. Misrepresentation, direct misrepresentation. ODNR's defense rests on an arbitrary legal interpretation that avoids confronting the factual reality of environmental risk. The argument that they reviewed the application under outdated rules, despite a 4-year applicant-driven delay, is a direct breach of their fiduciary duty to public safety.
Amen.
2, judicial precedent. This is not a novel legal challenge. The path for judicial intervention against an administrative non-appealable decision is clear. The 10th District's Supreme Court's own recent precedents in Arndt and Dahan validate the necessity of using a writ of mandamus to compel action when an agency like ODNR abuses its ministerial discretion. Our challenge is to the implementation of an illegal policy, not to a discretionary rule. Continue with section 3. States, your city's continued courage, therefore, is not merely admirable, it is the necessary and indeed the only effective defense against their systemic malfeasance. It is a bulwark that must stand firm against the insidious creep of corruption, the erosion of public trust, and the calculated disregard for the common good. Every act of defiance, every voice raised in protest, every stand taken for justice serves as a vital shield. Remember, the entire struggle, from its nascent stirrings to its ultimate resolution, starts and ends with an unwavering respect for our people's rights. These are not privileges to be granted or evoked at the whim of those in power, but fundamental entitlements that precede and underpin any legitimate government. To compromise on this foundational principle is to surrender the very essence of our collective dignity and the promise of a just society. It is upon this bedrock of rights that the future of our state, and indeed our democracy, will be built or irrevocably fractured. The critical action item for Marietta. The challenge facing Marietta requires simultaneous, aggressive action on multiple fronts. You cannot afford to choose one legal path over another. It is imperative that the city utilize this time for unified action. Do not allow legal procedure to force a false choice. The strategy must be comprehensive. 1, file a mandamus /TRO immediately in Columbus. This is the high leverage move that directly challenges ODNR's abuse of discretion and demands an immediate halt to the Stephan well, backed by the constitutional argument of imminent harm and right to clean water. 2, do not discount the moratorium route. Concurrently, pursue the local legislative action, the moratorium. This is the political tool that shows citizens you are using every lever of power to protect them. We must walk and chew gum. Do not silo the city's defense into a single option. Vigorously pursue all available ideas. The decision to defend Marietta's sovereignty rests with each of you, and that defense requires a united, multi-front offensive. The time for passive administrative engagement is over. Corey A. Hadesy, and this again is the former executive director of the Oil and Gas Commission from 2019 through 2023. The next item that I will read into the record is a communication from Commissioner James Booth. He writes, President Vessels, I am writing to you today due to the fact that I'm out of town and unable to attend the council meeting on Thursday. I have an opinion and want to make sure that my position is clear. And the statement follows. I, James Booth, want to make my position clear on the issue of injection wells in Washington County, Ohio. First of all, I am not a petroleum engineer, hydrologist, or certified in any area that pertains to oil and gas production. I do understand that the oil and gas production in our area is very important to the economic development of our area, the state of Ohio, and the United States of America. I am in full support of this initiative. Unfortunately, due to the process of fracking, there is waste that must be addressed as to how it is disposed of. This process injects this waste back into the ground at a deep distance. This is supposed to keep our aquifers safe from the contamination of the waste material. It has been stated by many sources that there is no way that our aquifers could ever see this happen. I have real concerns, and here's why. Approximately 4 years ago, the Board of County Commissioners started the, quote, Washington County Safe Water Project. This was then, and still now, a listing of needs in our county for the safe production of water for the residents. We communicated this to many state and federal representatives. They were excited to see our initiative and forethought for the safety of our area. I myself for a comment and objection letter. It was mostly more the same, but they do point out an error regarding the number of failed inspection reports for the American Growers No. 1 well. That well was originally permitted to inject at 980 psi. A year and a half or so after injection began, Deep Rock asked for permitted pressures to be increased to 1,050 psi. The council's letter previously stated that the well failed at 87.5%, or 14 out of 16 inspections. With the increased allowed pressure, their inspection failure rate drops to 9 out of 16. So with the higher pressure, the failure rate is only 56.25%. It should be noted that Deep Rock's, the ODNR's own inspectors, more than a year after the injection pressure was increased, incorrectly noted that the maximum allowed injection pressure was only 980. Finally, most here do not know what a 501c4 is. This is a federal entity that allows for substantial political and lobbying activities. A 501c4 can advocate for specific issues and support or oppose political candidates, as long as this is not their, quote, primary activity. As an aside, I would note that a 501c4 is the same type of entity that was utilized in the first energy fraud involving Larry Householder, who is now in prison. This past Monday, a 501c4 named the Accountability Project Institute, with an address on Capitol Square in Columbus, set up a website called injectionwellfacts.com. They sent an email informing the council of their website. This website calls me in particular an environmental lobby shill, a radical, a liar, and they say that I have a vendetta. They also mentioned Senator Chavez and Deep Rock by name, and they are spoken of in glowing terms. I find that their website is an effort at intimidation to discourage the council from acting to protect the water, but I think their effort has backfired. Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
At this time, would any member of council wish to speak? Yes, Councilor O'Neill.
I'll go since I have the microphone first. Thank you all for being here and for being concerned, first and foremost. Thank you to my fellow councilors who listened to my concerns regarding Resolution 79 and have appropriately amended it to reflect those concerns. Thank you to Mr. Bertram and other councilors who have decided to go that one step further and propose a moratorium on any more injection wells. The past couple weeks have been a lesson in how local government is supposed to work for the citizens. Many claims and threats and untruths have been made, but I will make it absolutely clear. My actions tonight reflect nothing other than my desire to speak out for my constituents who don't otherwise have a voice to fight against powerful government entities. So I stand with Ms. Vessels, Mr. Bertram, Mr. Hadesy, Mr. Booth, and all of you to say that from here on out, Marietta will no longer stand by and allow ourselves to become a dumping ground for other people's waste.
Good evening. How many of you received this mailer? How many of you think the main heading of it is totally ridiculous? Injection wells protect the environment and our drinking water. So a few minutes before I came down here, I sat down and jotted down some of the thoughts that were in my head. So most of you are here tonight because you have great and real concerns pertaining to the issue of injection wells just outside of Marietta, of which present a real possibility of contamination of our water source, as well as the possibility of an environmental disaster. Tonight will be the first reading of a resolution for a moratorium on further drilling and operation of these wells, as well as to halt the injection of fracking waste and so-called non-hazardous waste. The wording of the resolution reads almost like a criminal indictment of the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. My view is the ODNR is a captured state agency.
Captured state agency.
A captured state agency, serving only the interests of the oil and gas industry and not the safety of the residents of Marietta, Ohio, and the surrounding communities. This is evident from the information gathered and written into this resolution. I was elected to support and further the interests of my constituents. That has been my focus for nearly 6 years. City Council is here to work for the public who elected them and not for the interests of those who choose to poison the ground beneath us for profit. I call on all members to support the resolution creating a moratorium. And when it reaches the House and the Senate here in Ohio, we will find out those who were elected if they really serve their constituents or the oil and gas industry.
That's right.
Thanks, Bill. Good evening, everyone. Real quick comments. Thanks, Aaron, and thanks, Bill. It was a difficult week, and I would agree that I think we finally stopped talking to each other and started communicating, and so we made some very solid progress on some of the items that we're seeing tonight. So I'm very proud about that. The other item I wanted to bring up tonight is Resolution 240. I will be moving this to the table for one meeting to have another public meeting, and I'll schedule that during planning and zoning when we get to the committee portion. So I just wanted to let members know that.
Thank you.
All I want to say is that I'm going to introduce the moratorium tonight. I'm going to ask for applause.
Louder.
I'm sorry, forgive me, I can shout. That way. No, I'm going to ask for suspension of the rules on this one and an emergency clause, because 79 and 80 both have an emergency clause on it. And this is the same type of item that we're going forward with. And one last thing is, this budget just has nothing to do with the injection wells, but the budget we're meeting on the 22nd with the audit and the budget, so I'd like to have the finance committee meeting there on the 22nd at 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Those of you in the audience that know me, I think you know where I stand, so I don't need to take a lot of your time.
Thank you all for being here. Is this close enough? Can you hear me or not? Yes. So we did have at least some communication from ODNR, and it's good that we've got at least something more that we can add to and make that on the record. The fact that they are using the new rules on the operation, not necessarily on the construction, I think needs to be highlighted. There are a number of items on there, and I would invite you to go read those. There are some that should be at least highlighted, namely that the specific provisions in the new permitting rules require the proposed Class 2 wells not be within 1,000 feet of the 5-year travel time distance. So I at least see that as good news that we're at least expanding that window. Tonight we've got a couple of items both on 80 and on 79. 80 looks for action, which is a writ of mandamus. 79 has been expanded in its scope so that it's, one, doing a deeper dive into broader issues. So even though I think on 79 we had initially amended it to read on the site, I believe it's the third whereas, the proposed Stephen 1 well and all the other proposed Class 1 and Class 2 injection well, we had sort of limited it to deep rock solutions. I'd like to expand that to beyond not just deep rock solutions, but to anyone that would be in that same category, so I would strike that one section. Aside from that, thanks for being here.
Yeah, I too want to thank everyone for being here. Mr. Rutherford was kind, but this is the actual thing we received.
Can't hear you.
Louder.
This is the actual thing we received from the state. I haven't read the whole thing, but I did follow up. I am the counselor that Mr. Bertram referred to. I reached out to Mr. Vendel some 3 weeks ago. And everything you've heard about how hard it is to talk to them is true. However, I did receive word back from him today regarding some specific questions I had regarding the Stephen #1 drilling permit. My questions were these. If the permit was a reissue of a permit that had previously been issued under the old rules, okay? I was told that maybe 2 weeks ago by Mr. Vendel, and I confirmed that in writing. I have the email here, which I'll submit for the record. It was issued under the old rules, and I had questioned whether that would allow us to successfully navigate a writ of mandamus. That said, Mr. Vendel informed me that the original permit was issued on October 17, 2019. It was then again reissued in October 26, 2021. Evidently, it was reissued again in 2023, and I asked why the reissue. They have 2 years to apply for a reissued permit if they don't drill in that period of time. However, I went on and did a little further investigation. Yes, High Revised Code 1509.06 does give them the ability to reapply after 24 months. However, Ohio Administrative Code 3745-3421 limits permits to 5 years. And with the original permit being issued in 2019, I believe that's past the 5 years. So I am letting council know that I do now believe we have standing for a writ of mandamus. I don't believe that they're following the rules that they set.
Louder.
Use the mic. Yay. That was
the agenda for you to do so when you are recognized. Please step toward the podium, maybe off to the side near Councilor O'Neill, and state your name and address prior to speaking. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person, and typically the council may not respond to your comments directly, but they would take them under advisement and be directed to the person for follow-up. Thank you, Councilor O'Neill. Who would like to speak first?
Yes, Ms. Roxanne Straw. Thank you.
If that's okay.
Yes, please.
All right. Good evening, council, mayor. So, eloquent speeches, thank you very much. I'm not going to be as eloquent. I'm going to do a history lesson. I'm Roxanne Groff. I live on Marietta Run in Bern Township in Athens County. And the history lesson will just bring us up to date as to why the actions by City Council are so important and being supported by all of you. In 2012, K&H Partners LLC in Athens County was awarded its first class well injection well permit. In 2013, their second. In 2015, their third. In 2016, the landowners in Athens County informed the division staff that they believed production wells on their properties were being affected by brine injection from the nearby Ohio Shale injection wells owned by K&H. Sound familiar? The ODNR investigator concluded that the wells at that time in question were experiencing typical production decline for wells of that age. Sound familiar? It took until 2019 when Washington County producers notified ODNR of migration of brine into their wells that ODNR decided to hire an expert engineering firm to investigate and conclude that the Redbird No. 4 injection well indeed was the source of the migration. In 2019, the division began to see signs of another instance of injection wells impacting production wells in the neighboring Noble County. From 2016 to 2023, even with concerns of unprecedented migration of brine documented by the report on the Redbird No. 4 injection well, ODNR did not suspend operation of 6 wells that had been migrating brine into production wells, even though there were complaints filed and concerns made to ODNR. Sound familiar? It took ODNR 7 years to understand the complexity. That's what they said. It took them 7 years to understand the complexity of evaluating the impacts to the production wells, including not relying on the result of a singular ion or parameter from water sampling. Then comes the appeal before the Oil and Gas Commission on the suspension of the K&H wells in 2023 in Athens County, which brought ODNR to hire 3 engineering firms. 3 engineering firms to confirm the migration of brine from those wells, and because, quote from ODNR, given the potentially catastrophic consequences of such migration, the division recognizes brine migration outside the area of review as an imminent threat to public health, safety, and the environment. So, let's come up to date. Yesterday.
So we're at 3 minutes, so if you could wrap up, I'm sorry.
Yes. ODNR's response to the city's objection letter says, when asked, what is the division doing about the reports that production wells are being flooded out by injection wells here in Washington County? Their response, while the division appreciates being made aware of concerns about potential injection well impacts, it needs more information to conduct a proper investigation.
Thank you, Mrs.
Marietta, we have a problem.
Yes, ma'am, please come forward.
I don't really know which way to look.
Look up toward me.
Really? Okay. But I'm talking to you.
Yeah, you are. So you can talk to us if you want.
My name is Dawn Hewitt here in Marietta, and I drink water from the city of Marietta. If the new wells being planned and permitted were the first ones in Washington County, I might not be concerned. But there are already 17 active injection wells here, pumping huge volumes of brine under very high pressure into our geology. Apparently, there are also 7 injection wells that have failed, 6 have been shut down, including 3 right next door to us in Athens County, presumably with the same geology as ours. And if we didn't have, has anybody bothered to count how many green dots there are on this map? A lot of green dots here. If we didn't have hundreds of production wells, some active, some dormant, many abandoned or orphaned, and many unknown and unplugged here, I wouldn't be concerned. But we've got a mix of injection wells and production wells, and it's not a good combination. I can't count all the green dots showing production wells here. Each one a drinking straw, an unnatural crack into our rock structure, hundreds or thousands of feet deep, and not lined the whole way down with concrete and steel. Our geology is truly like Swiss cheese. Or even if all the old production wells were plugged, maybe I wouldn't be so concerned about a couple of more injection wells. But we all know that there are hundreds of unplugged wells here. We just don't know where they are, or the logistics of getting them plugged. And if Bob Lane and Bob Wilson hadn't demonstrated that brine from injection migrates, I might not be concerned at all. But several of their wells are gushing fracking brine, when a few years ago they gushed oil. That is undeniably concerning. Or if fracking brine wasn't radioactive, I might not be so concerned. But it is. And even the highest tech brand new water treatment facility can't filter out radioactivity. And if the state hadn't lowered the maximum volume and standards for injection wells for pressure, I wouldn't be concerned. But the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Oil and Gas, did lower the volume and pressure permitted in injection wells in 2022 because the old limits were apparently too risky. Why else would they do it if they didn't deem them to be too high? So why is it that Deep Rock, which Senator Chavez's wife owns, gets to go by old risky regulations? At least that was my understanding until tonight. Something's truly fishy about that. And by the way, if the old standards were risky, why don't we apply them to the new regs to existing injection wells too? Why don't we back off on the permitted volume and the permitted pressure?
Appreciate you coming this evening, because you might have heard the timer.
I didn't hear the timer go off. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
One thing I want to say is that if it is woke, and I've been called woke, to care about our water, then I'm wide awake. And I want you to not be asleep at the wheel. Wake up and protect our aquifer. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dee Arnold.
Closer.
I'm Dee Arnold, Marietta. We have created a nonpartisan committee called Washington County for Safe Drinking Water. We are a bunch of concerned citizens from Washington County, comprised of people from all walks of life and all ages. We are doctors, teachers, business people, professors, merchants, and lawyers, to name a few. But I'll tell you what we're not. We're not radical leftists. We are regular people who have deep roots and abiding love for Washington County. We want to see our communities thrive and have an infinite supply of clean, safe drinking water for ourselves and for our families, who will hopefully be able to live here long after we are gone. Our committee will work in leadership capacity for the ever-growing chorus of concerned citizens who do not want to see injection well owners or companies automatically be issued permits by ODNR to build more injection well sites, haul more toxic waste through our towns and on our roads, and bring more waste in by rail, or have toxins loaded onto barges to float down our rivers. In short, we do not want to be the dumping ground for toxic waste here in Washington County. Nor do we want our water sources jeopardized or have a catastrophic spill of radioactive material in our rivers or on our land. Washington County is under threat, and we as concerned community members need to stand toe-to-toe with the oil and gas industry and to hold the Ohio Department of Natural Resources accountable. Let's remember, this is our land. This is our water. And it's our communities. Rather than allowing a few injection well owners to enrich themselves, we, the residents, want what's best for the collective whole. A safe environment, safe drinking water, safe future for sustainability for all of our communities in southeastern Ohio.
Hi everyone, my name is Jess Archer. I live in Marietta, and I'm working with Dee on this committee, and I want to point everyone here to our Facebook page, which is called Washington County for Safe Drinking Water. We are going to need everybody in this fight. If you look at the handouts that have been sent that everyone should have, there are 17 injection wells already in this county. There have already been over 11 million barrels of brine injected. Deep Rock and whatever other companies are getting these barrels are getting $5 to $10 per barrel. So you can do the math on that. We are really going to need everybody here in this fight with us, because this is us, this is Marietta protecting our aquifer, everyone coming together to try to keep all of these toxic chemicals out of our groundwater, prevent these migration events that have been happening, and we have to stick together on this, because this is big money and this is going to be a big fight. So thanks everyone.
Forward.
Good evening. My name is George Banzinger. I want to thank Susan Vessels and the City Council and your careful attention to detail in this important fight. It's important for the city of Marietta and for Washington County. I've been involved in the prime waste issue injection wells
Louder, George.
for over 10 years.
Good.
I think the focus on the application of the old rules is the most egregious and also the most vulnerable feature of the opposition to the ODNR. Please don't lose your courage or your focus in pursuing this effort. Last Tuesday, there was a candidate forum in Muskingum Township, and I asked all 4 candidates their position on injection wells in the township and the county. All 4 were vehemently opposed to injection wells. September 7th, Sunday, my wife and I and a visitor from the Save Ohio Parks organization from Cincinnati, and I went to the Deep Rock facility on State Route 7 and 550. We were immediately told we were trespassing and the person there would call the cops. We left almost immediately. We took a few photos. Then when I got home after about an hour, there was a deputy sheriff in my driveway. Said, we have a complaint about your trespassing. Well, I never saw a no trespassing sign at the site. And I did see a sign that said dangerous materials. So if brine waste is harmless, let's deal with the sign dangerous materials. So this episode raised several questions for me. Why are they so defensive? And they would say immediately, you're trespassing. And why are they so busy on a Sunday morning? This is 9:30 a.m. Why do the workers here not have hazmat materials when they're dealing with radioactivity? Why is the deputy sheriff tracking down a couple of 80-year-olds and a visitor from Cincinnati?
You can finish up the time, so.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I had a message forwarded to me from an organization called Accountability and Project Institute, who said we're full of passion and no facts. We've heard facts tonight. This is poisonous radioactivity. It migrates. It can get into our water. That's as much fact and as much passion as we need. 238 by Justin Noble.
Louder, George.
Describes the exposure of radioactivity and all the people who worked with brine waste in Texas, Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, and cancer rates among these people who worked on brine, and also the woman Carla Greathouse, who presented a 900-page report to the EPA that brine waste is hazardous, which was squelched for political reasons.
Thank you, Mr. Van Sicker. Next, we have Dept Reed from the Environmental Network.
Yeah, so I just have a question for the council through Madam President. The question is, in this response from ODNR, the response that ODNR sent to council yesterday about some questions that have been asked, it says that this application would be permitted under previous like permitting rules, like the old permitting rules, but it would be governed under the new rules for the actual activities. So what that part is not clear. I'm not sure if you all followed that, like what they meant by the answer.
Technically, we're not supposed to engage in a back and forth conversation,
Okay.
but I do agree it was smoke and mirrors.
So that I heard Councilman Rutherford mention that, and I just wanted some clarity on that. So maybe we can talk after the meeting. So I think you're giving ODNR a little too much credit with, because they're kind of talking out two sides of themselves with, permitting it under two different sets of rules, basically, is what they're saying with this response. So be happy to talk more about it though, because I'm trying to understand too. Their other responses here were just very confusing as well. They didn't address the zero annulus pressure that had been asked about in the American Growers one. That was ignored and not addressed at all. And other issues that were raised about other injection wells that had issues, like the Arrowhead injection well. Apparently, the Arrowhead injection well operated for 3 years with a faulty step rate test, I believe. And ODNR was asked that, and they admitted it, but they didn't say how long they operated like that. So that's another thing. And what damage was done around Arrowhead. I talked to a property owner there that has a spring, and his spring is having a lot more water than normal, an abnormal amount of water in his yard. And I'm just wondering if that water underneath isn't pressing on his spring and causing that issue. I'm not saying it did, but will it become brine eventually? These are the types of issues that folks in Southeast Ohio need to be asking. How much damage is already done? And now we're just trying to prevent it from being worse, but we need to really investigate. And ODNR says they don't have enough information to investigate. It says it right here. They don't have enough information to do their job. It's really, really, really disheartening. So thank you for your efforts.
Mr. Lane or Mr. Lane, yes.
Municipality was actually behind you.
myself and Bob Wilson, who has a bunch of wells just below Marietta where the catfish pond is, back over the hill. I'm sorry, I'm not used to this, and you're finding it out. But we were the first to be really affected by these disposal wells. He's got 46 wells now that are totally flooded, right down here at Constitution. Mark Fulton, a friend of mine who owns a ramp company out on 550, just outside of Marietta, not that far, called me one day and he said, Bob, could you come down here? He bought a well on the property that he built his new plant on down there. And he was getting gas off of it to heat his offices and his whole facility there. And he called me and he said, I got a problem down here. He said, I got oil all over the ground around my well. And I thought, oh boy. He said, could you come down here? And I said, yes, I'll be down right away, Mark. I went down, I seen the oil. There's probably a 15-mile radius around his well, just covered with oil. Around the wellhead, on the outside the pipe. And for those of you who don't know what that might mean, I mean it followed the backside of the pipe up out of the ground. It was subject to fresh water zones all the way up through there. And there was gas bubbling out of the ground and oil coming up. And he said, Bob, where's that coming from? And I said, I don't think we want to know. And he said, what are we going to do about it? It was soon going to be out in his parking lot. We're 550 and it went across there and went in the creek. And I said, before dark, it'll be across the road and in the creek at the rate it's coming. And he said, well, what are we going to do? I said, there's nothing you can do. I said, it's coming up the backside. This is all not supposed to happen. How many layers of pipe and how much cement and all that. That well was drilled to the state specifications. And I was around when it was drilled. But anyway, I said, I'll call a state inspector. I said, they can answer the problem. So I did. It wasn't long till a young man showed up, not very old. And he said, looks to me like you got a tubing leak. I said, well, it's coming up the back side of the surface pipe. It's put in there to protect the fresh water. And he said, how do you know that? I said, well, I can see it there with my eyes. Look at the gas bubbles now and bringing water. And he said, I think you got a casing leak. So I asked Mark Fulton, the guy that owned the well and the company there. I said, you care if I blow the pressure down off of it? It only had about 15 or 20 pounds on it. He told me later that it had been pumping a lot of water as well. And so I blew the pressure all off the well, the casing and the tubing. Oil and water kept coming. I said, how could that be coming up out of there if it's a leak in the casing?
Mr. Lane, the time's up. If you just finish up. I'm sorry, the time's up.
My time?
Yeah, well, you can just finish your thought, please.
Anyway, the inspector came and we did that. Blowed all the pressure down. The gas and oil kept coming with no pressure on the well. And I said, sir, I hate to tell you, and it's going to bust your bubble for the day, but I said it's coming from the deep rock disposal well. We stood there for about 15 minutes, and pretty soon I heard something go like that. I looked down, and it went on a vacuum. It started sucking the oil that was around there back down the hole. And that inspector looked at me, and he said, what happened there? Better place to go to with less pressure to bring it up here. I said, let's all hope to God it isn't in our freshwater zone. But I just want to share that with you. I also asked Chief Van Dale when he came finally after a year of begging and coaxing to deal with us and our flooded injection wells. I said, Chief Van Dale, I said, if this is no problem, if these injection wells are no problem, I said, how come they're hauling Brine water clear up to the New York state line, down through Pennsylvania, and clear down here in Washington County? I said, anybody with any economical ability at all would drill a well up there and put it up there. What's goes on Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Joy Cowdery from Muskingum Township, and I want to applaud the council for the amendment on a moratorium on fracking, or not fracking, but injection wells, because they are unsafe, they do fail. But I want you to consider that there are other ways of dealing with toxic waste, and we don't want that appearing in Washington County either. And your resolution only mentions injection wells. So unless we want to become a dumping ground for even more unsafe ways to take care of toxic waste, we need to deal with that as well. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak at this time? Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hi, members of the council, fellow residents, and esteemed guests. My name is Julian Jakubowski. I live on Harmer Hill. I want to speak in strong support of Resolution 80 and now 81. Our community should be aware of how CA quietly infiltrated the local water supplies. Groundwater contamination is not just a hypothetical risk. It's a real issue that has serious human and economic impacts. As the Ohio Department of Natural Resources moves forward with granting injection well permits near Marietta, our community faces another critical moment. We know that waste injected underground can migrate, and chemical persistence can have lasting harm. The cost of doing nothing is high. The history shows that the cost of cleaning up pollution is much harder, more expensive, less effective than just preventing it in the first place. Resolution 80 is important, it's vital, it affirms our right and our responsibilities to challenge the state when minimum permitting standards don't provide established minimum safety standards. This resolution supports legal action to hold the Ohio Department of Natural Resources accountable and guarantees that the most up-to-date safety standards are enforced rather than outdated rules. There's no excuse to use old standards just because someone filed a permit in 2019 if they didn't start their construction now. And by the way, I'm a registered Republican for the last 27 years, so I'm not a lefty or anything like that.
Thank you, Dr. Bukowski. Mr. Harrison.
Start by thanking the council. I thought you guys had enough on your shoulders with saving us financially. Now you have this, you have to save our water. But anyway, I'm Dan Harrison. I'm a political independent because I really don't trust either party. But I've been a business owner for 44 years, and I guess most importantly, I've been a lifetime volunteer in this community, which is the most important thing to me. I know there's a lot of talk about numbers and the facts and the risk and all that stuff. I tried to break this down in my own mind into some very simple things, which I will only take 3 minutes to do. The first question was, why here? And I've got a multiple choice thing here. First, the geological location, is this unique? No one else. Two, no one else wants the waste. I mean, would they have done this in Dublin? Would they have done this in Cleveland Heights? Would they have done this in Lebanon, outside Cincinnati? Well, I'm just asking you. And C, these are multiple choice. We are considered ignorant and easy to persuade. You decide the answer. Mine is C. What is our benefit? Forget those safety flyers, which were very insulting. I mean, very insulting. You should take those flyers personally. I mean, that was it's unbelievable. But what is our benefit? Is it financial wealth to our community? That's A. B, is it a political pat on the back for staying in our lane or satisfying the Ohio Department of Natural Resources to pad the pockets of you-know-who? Or what is our benefit? Choice C, nothing. C is the answer, nothing. Last, what is our risk? Polluting our water system, A. B, earthquake effects. C, potential harm or death to individuals. Also, the potential elimination of our community as a whole.
Absolutely.
We could say all, but I will still go with C. So if why they're here, because they think we're ignorant and easy to persuade, and what's our benefit? Nothing. And what's our risk? Death. I'm sorry, what those big cities don't have, which is why they're down here in Appalachia, we were the first settlement. We were the first settlement in the Northeast Territory. They don't have that. I suggest we send them all a copy of the Pioneer, and after that we tell them, this is not happening. This isn't a debate. It's not happening. Thank you.
Who would like to speak next? Yes, sir, in the back.
That's a long one. All right. Sorry. I'm not used to vocal amplification. I'm Kevin Paskwick, 3rd Street here in Marietta. And I know a lot of you on council and the administration know me well. I think I've been critical of every single person in this room at some point because of a policy you have fought for or tried to pass or passed in Marietta. That being said, to the members of council, to President Vessels, to Law Director Bertram, and to Mayor Schlicker, thank you. Thank you guys for fighting for this. Thank you for fighting for the future of this community. And as long as you are in this fight, I, for one, am going to be standing behind you and supporting you. Because it's all of us. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Who would like to speak next? Yes, sir, in the back.
Hello. First time ever being at a city council meeting because this is actually pretty important to me. Nathan Wilson, Marietta. So I live on Cold Coffin Road, which I didn't know was that close to all these injection well sites. And to touch on what you said, the water's coming up from the ground. We had no clue exactly why. So I kind of started looking into it to see exactly what could be the issue, because living on top of Harm Hill, it would be kind of weird that the water's just pumping out. We have underground springs too. So I started kind of looking into it, that's when I found about this. And then my dad had some health issues recently as well too. And we can't figure out what they came from. I actually saw a doctor over here. We went to the emergency room, my dad had a whole bunch of heart issues. And we literally cannot figure it out when I was looking through a lot of it, because it's his vagus nerve that didn't connect, this whole thing. But as one of the, I guess, future Marietta, youth or whatever it is, I just want to thank you guys, because everyone stood up, and it's like, it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat, you guys are doing what is right for our community, and I just want to thank you guys for everything, because it really does mean a lot. So thank you guys.
Anyone else wish to address the council?
Yes, Ms. Cook.
Betsy Cook in Lowell, Ohio. I just want to say, if you were listening tonight and in the past, ODNR, Ohio Department of Natural Resources, is our problem.
Yes.
We need to make them listen because they are in the pocket of the oil and gas industry. They are not out there helping the citizens of whatever county you're in Ohio. And we need to be writing to them. And I got my response back when I wrote my last letter, and he said, we'll put it in the stack, because people were writing in, but we need to get them to listen. And they won't do meetings. We have got to get them to come to meetings or have meetings so that they can hear us. So if you can write, text, whatever, ODNR, and maybe we can put something in the minutes as to addresses or phone numbers. But there is our concern. ODNR needs to listen to the citizens of Ohio. Thank you.
Would you like to speak next? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Council.
Good evening. My name is Jim Rainey. I live on Montgomery Street. I just want to thank Council for having this meeting tonight, and would like to encourage Council to invest in a better audio system. I happen to know this system costs less than $300. It's actually borrowed, and I think we can do better in our city government. Thank you.
Next speaker, please. It appears that everyone is
Going once, going twice.
In that case, we will move on to our unfinished business and pending legislation. We have 2 ordinances and 3 resolutions on the 3rd reading and 1 resolution on the 2nd reading. So let's proceed with ordinance 238 and its 3rd reading.
The city of Marietta, Ohio. To apply for and enter into a revised cooperative agreement for additional funds needed by the city of Marietta for design and planning services for reverse osmosis water treatment project. Through a water supply revolving loan account with the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency and the Ohio Water Development Authority for an amount not to exceed.
Okay, that completes the 3rd reading of ordinance 238. Is there any further action, Councilor Rutherford?
Move for the adoption of ordinance 238.
We have a motion from Councilor Rutherford to adopt ordinance 238. Is there a second? Second from Councilor Alphen. Any discussion?
Briefly.
Yes.
238 is looking at the plant and the design for addressing the mitigation of PFAS in our water supply to go below the 4 parts per trillion number. The design is 1.2 million. I will readily say that
We can't hear you. We can't talk over the noise.
I'm gonna close the door back here.
Thank you.
Madam President, I move to recess for 5 minutes of people on leave.
Second.
So we can get back to business. I'm not saying service right now, so. Moved and seconded to recess for 5 minutes.
Okay, a motion and a second to recess for 5 minutes.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye. We are in recess for 5 minutes so that you can leave quietly. Thank you.
Don't you want to see if they're going to pass the moratorium?
Of course, if you want to stay and see how the votes go, please do that as well, but remember we're conducting the meeting.
They still have to vote on the moratorium.
We couldn't hear the resolution.
Resolution number 79-2425, a resolution by the Council of the City of Marietta, Ohio to establish the Injection Well Task Force Committee as an ad hoc advisory committee of the Water, Sewer, and Sanitation Committee of the Council of the City of Marietta, Ohio, which shall serve until December 31st, 2025. And that the chairman of the Water, Sewer, and Sanitation Committee shall appoint no more than 7 members to serve on said Injection Well Task Force Committee and declaring an emergency.
That completes the 3rd reading of resolution
There are, can I take a second, don't I?
Second. Well,
Oh, sorry, yes. Well, explain the motion
Explain
to
the-
amend.
So the
Specific-
motion to amend, we had a committee meeting this past week. There are 2 items, in fact, actually, there are 3 items to be looked at. The first item was on how the committee was going to be formed and how council could object to members of that committee. So that's been embedded within the new language. Each member has a copy of that in front of you, along with the red inked changes. Additionally, there's a second item that's going to be amended as well. When we went through
Section 3, timeline.
Section 3, thank you. Timeline associated with the committee, so that the committee would report out an initial interim finding by November 4th, and then submit some final report by December 31st. Not able to go beyond December 31st since that's going to be a new council. So hopefully there would be in the next time another ad hoc committee that would be, I think, carry forward what that one has, this, if it is passed, would continue to build upon the same data. Last is in section 4. Instead of a writ of mandamus action, it's one more generalized for the purposes of further action, so as not to be confined within one particular scope. So if there are other items that are found by the committee that are actionable, then there's a reasonable basis for that for council to then act from that basis. It was pointed out at least a little earlier by Councilman Grimm that on the third whereas, so if you look on, not the third, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth whereas, it's going to be on page 2, the second one. It pigeonholes that into being simply a deep rock solution. Striking that language opens that up to anyone that would be in the process of doing the same thing, consequently making it, I think, a broader action from anybody that would be doing injection welling within the county or within, I guess, our city limits, so to speak. Having said that, I guess is then there a second?
I'll second those motions.
So, and so the motion is inclusive, so that the council clerk is not confused, it's inclusive of all the red language and Director Burton, that is.
All
Is
the
there
red
one
language.
section that you wanted to cross out?
There was a section that was crossed out off the original form that had been planned, which it essentially said, whereas the city council shall review information and decide whether the city of Marietta should file a mandamus action challenging the injection well, and that was taken out. It's not part of it because basically 80 basically covers that. So
And
that's why.
the 5th whereas should strike deep rock.
Deep rock, that's correct. That's it. The one area is not in there, but everybody got the original 79 and the amendments that are in red. So it is now, I think, expanded as well as more put together resolution.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. The councilors all understand the changes as Law Director Burton has requested. Is there any further discussion? Is there any discussion? Yes, Councilor.
I would just like to, again, say thank you for taking my amendments and my concerns into consideration and writing them into this amended resolution. It satisfies the concerns that I had that this would be, maybe a stalling tactic. And I'm glad that it's expanded to allow us the leeway and to allow Mr. Bertram the leeway to proceed even further if so necessary in the future. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor O'Neill. Any other discussion? Yes, Councilor Cross.
I want to publicly thank Mr. Bertram for working on this and listening to everyone and getting it ironed out. This was, section 4 was really contentious part of this, and there was a lot of disagreements and so on and so forth, and discussion over section 4. And but I want to thank Mr. Bertram for listening to everyone and writing this up so that everyone will be able to support this piece of legislation. Thank you.
Any additional discussion?
Yes, Madam
Yes,
President.
please,
I
Councilor
would
Gray.
like to point out that it was Mr. Rutherford that made the amendments.
motion to adopt.
Second.
Councilor Rutherford has moved to adopt Resolution 79. Councilor Scales has seconded. Any discussion? Roll
Yes,
call.
Madam
Yes.
President, I think this is a very important piece of legislation. We need to be informed on all the actions that we take forward. This was never a stall tactic, this was always from day one, let's get our information, just like I did on this. With the drilling permit, a committee can dig in deeper with experts that know the questions to ask that I didn't even know to ask to get to this information. So it's a very important piece of legislation that I hope gets unanimous support.
Thank you, Councilor Graham. If there's no,
I'll further add
yes,
that, yes.
Councilor
When you did the comparison between these two legislative pieces, 80 and 79, they were operating independently of one another. So hopefully the concerns about waylaying this as a stall tactic has been resolved, that these two can continue in tandem or in parallel with one another.
Thank you, Councilor Rutherford. If there's no additional discussion, we'll have a roll call vote on the motion to adopt.
Mr. Alvin?
Yes.
Mr. Gossett?
Yes.
Mr. Grimm?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yep.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Scales?
Yes.
Council, by your action, you have adopted Resolution 79 as amended. Moving on to Resolution 80 and its second reading, please.
Resolution number 80, 2425, a resolution by the Council of the City of Marietta, Ohio, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 733.53, authorizing and directing the law director of the City of Marietta, Ohio, to prosecute or defend on behalf of the city all suits, complaints, and controversies in which the city is a party, and such other suits, matters, and controversies as the law director is directed to prosecute, and to specifically challenge by writ and/or appeal the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Division of Oil and Gas Resource Management's issuance on August 28, 2025 of a Class 2 injection well permit to Deep Rock Disposal Solutions for the Deepman number 1 well and declaring an emergency.
That completes the second reading of Resolution number 80. Is there any additional action?
Madam President, I would like to dispense with the rules and suspend the third reading, please.
Second.
Councilor O'Neill has moved to suspend the third reading, and there's a second from Councilor Nolan. Is there any discussion on the motion to suspend the third reading?
Yes, Madam President.
Yes, Councilor Graham.
Before we consider this, I would like, as not a sponsor of this legislation, I could make a motion myself, but would ask one of the sponsors to move to expand the scope of this beyond the writ of mandamus. I explained earlier today that I now support pursuit of a writ of mandamus, but I would also like the ability of council to pursue other legal actions as it sees fit.
So, we have a motion to suspend the third reading, and there was a second. So let's do that first. May we have a roll call vote on the motion to suspend the third reading? There's no additional discussion.
Mr. Alvin?
Yes.
Mr. Gossett?
Yes.
Mr. Grimm?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Scales?
Yes.
Okay, council, by your action, you have suspended the third reading of Resolution 80. Is there another motion?
I move for the adoption of Resolution 80.
Councilor O'Neill has moved to adopt Resolution 80. Councilor Nolan has seconded. Is there any discussion?
To Mr. Grimm's point, I think that I understand what he's saying. I think that this needs to be specific to the ODNR issue that we are currently dealing with. I don't know how other councilors feel about opening this resolution up to include any legal action that the city might take, and I don't know what the law director's advice would be on that.
Well, one of the things that I was extremely encouraged by Mr. Grimm started in 2019, and we're now 5-6 years into the place and the administrative code. This further amplifies the issue of the writ of mandamus. The action for the writ of mandamus was challenging the permit and challenging the law for which the permit was granted. If the permit was granted in a situation that was not permitted by the administrative code and was against the 10th District Court of Appeals decision, I think that the writ of mandamus is the way to be able to challenge it. And it kind of goes along with also Mr. Hades' statement that was read today, and made for the record, that we need to challenge this by writ of mandamus, and we need to challenge the process, what law was used, especially with Stevens, because we still have the ability to challenge the writ, or excuse me, the permitting of the well for the injection process by separate action. But the way the appeal was written, we're kind of playing, well, I don't want to say playing games, we're challenging it prior to its permit as well, almost from an economic look at a standpoint as well. And I appreciate John's work in this, I really do, and any other counselors that have been involved as well.
So we have a pending motion to adopt with no amendment. So
There's a motion to
there's a
adopt.
motion to adopt from Councilor Neal and a second from Councilor Nolan. So should we, if there's no, let's go
Call the
ahead and
question.
call the question. Vote
Thank you,
on the
John.
motion to adopt resolution 80 as written.
Mr. Alvin?
Yes.
Mr. Gossett?
Yes.
Mr. Grimm?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
No.
Mr. Skittles?
Oh, yes.
Council, by your action with a vote of 6-1, you've adopted resolution 80. We will move on to our presentation of petitions and communications.
Madam President, we received nuisance reports for June, July, and August from property maintenance. And we received an email from Roger Coulter that he wants read. Dear President Vessels, I am unable to attend council, but would like to express my opposition to continued poisoning of Washington County's office. With 17 injection wells pumping millions of gallons of radiation and chemicals containing brine waste into the ground, how long will it be before Washington County is uninhabitable? That last thing the county needs is more injection wells. Who benefits from pumping poison underground at high pressures? Perhaps a few millionaires, a couple dozen truck drivers, and not much others. Who stands to suffer from leaking injection wells? Every man, woman, and child living in the valley. What will the injection wells perpetrators do when our water is undrinkable? Probably take their money and run. Noted Hugh Dock and Region of Washington County's officers. Roger G. Calder, 627 and a half 9th Street, Marietta.
Thank you. Is that complete the petitions and communications? Okay. We'll move on to report of standing committees on matters pertaining to business of those committees and start with finance and taxation and Chairman Scales.
All right, the 9th, 5:30.
Resolution number 81, 2425, a resolution by the Council of the City of Marietta, Ohio, urging the Ohio House of Representatives and the Ohio Senate to introduce legislation imposing a 3-year moratorium directing the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Oil and Gas Division's chief from issuing any further construction permits for the drilling of any additional Class 1 or Class 2 brine and/or non-hazardous industrial waste injection wells in Washington County, Ohio, and additionally imposing a 3-year moratorium directing the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Oil and Gas Division's chief from issuing any further permits for the injection of brine and/or non-hazardous industrial waste into any injection wells in Washington County, Ohio, and further imposing a 3-year moratorium prohibiting any further brine or hazardous waste to be brought into Washington County, Ohio from other states for injection into existing wells in Washington County.
That completes our first reading of resolution 81. Is there any further action, Councilor
Yes, Madam
Scales?
President, I would like to make a motion that we add an emergency clause to resolution number 81.
Second.
There is a motion for an emergency clause from
I think
Councilor
I should
Scales.
I think I should got it.
You got it, Councilor Graham, seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote on the motion to add an emergency clause.
Mr. Alvin?
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Grimm?
Yes.
Mr. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Scales?
Yes.
Okay, council, by your action, you have added an emergency clause to resolution 81. Do I now refer to that even though it's an emergency clause as amended?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any additional motion regarding resolution 81 as
I'm looking
amended?
to suspend the second and third reading ordinance or resolution number 81.
Second.
Councilor Scales has moved to suspend both the second and third readings. Councilor Neal has seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote on the motion to suspend both readings.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Gossett?
Yes.
Mr. Grimm?
Yes.
Mr. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Scales?
Yes.
Council, by your action, you have suspended both the second and third readings of resolution 81. Any further action, Councilor
I move the
Scales?
adoption of resolution number 81.
Second.
Councilor Scales has moved to adopt. Councilor Neal seconded. Any discussion? If there is no discussion, a roll call vote on the motion to adopt.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Gossett?
Yes.
Mr. Grimm?
Yes.
Mr. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Scales?
Yes.
Council, by your action, you have adopted resolution 81 as amended. Resolution 82 in its first reading, please.
Resolution number 82, 2425, a resolution formally recognizing the Marietta New Rotary Club stewardship and voluntarily making.
Read this resolution 81. It reads as a criminal indictment against the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. And it's exciting to see we're moving forward like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Gossett. Councilor O'Neill,
Good things were done tonight. I'm very proud of our community. I'm very proud of our council. It's 9:30. Go home and sleep well. We did a good job.
Thank you.